to shove his like 7-6 suited, and I don't want to call it off, so I just decided to fold. And you see Baby Ryan 2-barreled a good board to do so. It's probably what I would have done as well, so again, I feel like he's playing reasonably well. And the King 5 suited, we have a really tight button, and if TJ plus was a little bit deeper, I would be opening to isolate him, but given that he's as short as he is, I just decided to fold. And I considered raising the Queen 3 here, but with Greedy Genius being as short as he is, I just decided that checking and seeing a free flop would be better. And with the Queens and TJ plus still to act, I decided to flat. And we flopped pretty well. And mark mind, I don't believe bets, but I think 3-betting there is fine, but it also shuts out the people left to act, so we don't want to do that with a hand as strong as queens. Now with the 3s, I just fold. I like Kitties is playing pretty well, and I don't think we would have very good implied odds, so I just decided to fold. And mark mine just check folds when we have the queens, which is unfortunate, but it happens. And you see, I like Kitty's 4-bets. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has a strong range, but I think his 4-bet sizing was a bit big. It was like 31 big blinds. I would have probably made it like 1250 or something. But in any case, 2 guns made a bluff 3-bet, so that's something to watch out for, especially when we're opening as many hands as we are on the button. He might start to 3-bet us pretty light, and we would have to adjust a little bit by either calling more 3-bets or min-raising the button just to have better odds to call the 3-bet, or to make him less inclined to 3-bet us. And so we flop trips against Tom, and there's just no reason to slow down here. It's a pretty bad river, but he checks really fast again, and he checks snap called the flop and turn, and I'm pretty sure he has a hand like ace-4 here, and I don't think he has a hand that beats us at all, ever. So we decide to bet. I think we bet pretty big. You can see me spastically moving my mouse around while I decide on the bet size. And we decide on 13 into 17, and he snap calls us. And I mean, I was pretty certain that he was going to call. I didn't think he was folding ever. And he had ace-3, so I think a lot of our hands when we were barreling him previously, even though we had hands, he didn't realize that because he hasn't called us before, led into us calling, or it led into him calling that hand. And so this hand happened at the 3rd table, which was underneath these 2 tables, and I thought it was on the table, so I was talking about it, and then I was like, oh, you guys can't see this. So I brought the replayer up, and I opened in the cutoff with 6s, and Todd Pringle called in the big blind, and he check called the flop, and the turn went check, check, and he instantly potted the river. And I figured if he didn't have 2-pair, that he wouldn't be betting an 8 here. So unless he had Jack-8 or 8-7, I thought I was good. And turns out he had Jack-8. But I was talking about it, and then I realized that you guys couldn't see it, so I had to bring it up, so I didn't look like I was going crazy. So that's what this hand is. And so I talk about it for a little bit, and pull the replayer back down, and I think that's the last you see of that table. Facebook's going crazy. So at the same time, while that was going on, we had a hand where I believe I Like Kitties opened, and it got flatted by Greedy Genius, and we decided to flat Ace King to keep Tom in the pot. I feel like I could have 3-bet here, but it's a spot where flatting is fine. I don't really have too much history with I Like Kitties, other than us 3-betting each other once a piece. But I feel like that's not enough for me to get it all in. It is, but there's better options, and flatting to keep Tom Seagal in the pot is a lot better than 3-betting him and 3-betting I Like Kitties and shutting Tom out. So I decided to flat, and we get a pretty bad board, and we just decided to fold. I was pretty sure Tom was calling, so I decided to fold. If I knew anything more about him, I would have, or if I knew that Tom was like a regular or whatever, and would fold, I would be more inclined to call and see a turn, because he would be folding to a lot of bets. But since we know that he's a not so good player, we'll say, that he's going to be calling a lot, so we just decided to fold. And you see that I Like Kitty sat out immediately after, so he might have been bluffing and just ending his session. But in any case, it's alright, we can let him have a little bit of a pot. And so mark my limps, and we're just going to raise to isolate with the ace-9. Pretty standard. And we see Tom's in another pot, and betting pretty small. I don't remember if this gets to showdown or not, but I feel like he has an ace pretty much always, and yeah, he has ace-jack, so we're just further confirming our read every time he has a hand and shows us. Backing this hand up a little bit if I can. We raise and get 2 callers with ace-9, and mark my limp folds. This is a good board to c-bet, because if they don't have a 10, they're going to be pretty hard pressed to call. And we have a backdoor spade draw and an overcard that's probably good if we hit it. I don't think I decided to bet, but it is a really good board to bet, and if there was any board to bet 3-way, this would be the ideal board. And so it checks through, and I can't really rep anything now, and I probably have the best hand unless they have like pocket 2s or a turn to 4. So I just decided to check and try and get to showdown, because I feel like they're going to let me get there pretty cheaply. And you see that he has ace-9 as well, and we chop it up. But I feel like that's a spot where I could have bet the flop and taken it down. Don't know why I didn't, but in any case, I think it's fine to check it down once you don't bet the flop, because you can't really rep anything. And so Tom flopped a monster draw and decided to show us. I'm not surprised at all. And ace-4, we are just going to flat. Oh, sorry about that. We're just going to flat. 3-betting and getting it in is a little too loose, and we're not folding because we're playing as many hands on the button as we can. But we don't flop anything, and we just decide to check it down if we can. Betting is just not going to be good, because Tom's going to have a lot of hands that he's going to check call with. And so we get pretty owned here. He bets 1 into 455, and I was talking about how, he probably has a queen